Hello Scorpio, here's your weekly horoscope for January 31 to February 6th. Well, I believe I mentioned last week that this week was going to be a killer because Mercury has gone retrograde. I have a new article about that on the website if you'd like to check it out. So this week we have not only Mercury retrograde, but Sun squaring Mars in Taurus all week, Sun in Aquarius. So for some of you Scorpio people, you're going to be hit by this square and as well the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. Now, with the Sun square Mars in Taurus all week, almost everybody is going to have an increase of energy, but also an increase of frustration and potentially anger. If it forms a T-square to any Scorpio planets, including your Sun, there is a great possibility that you're not going to be able to hold your temper this week. It could be a very frustrating week with a lot of minor mishaps and miscommunications and things. And normally Scorpio is pretty good at being patient and holding their temper for a long time. But then when they lose it, look out. And unfortunately, with the Sun-Mars square all week long and Mercury retrograde, there is potential for you to lose your self-control, Scorpio. Now, aside from that, we also have Mercury semi-sextile Pluto, at least till Friday, Pluto being your ruling planet. So it's a soft aspect, a minor one, but it is soft. So there is opportunity for you to talk about the frustrations and communicate with somebody. Don't even hesitate to talk to yourself, your cat, your dog, or whatever you need to do. But with Mercury in this aspect, Scorpio, it's a good idea for you to get out some of the frustrations and concerns that you may be having. And if that's the case, maybe things won't be as negative as I'm suggesting. Now, with Venus conjunct Saturn and square Uranus from Thursday on, that is going to create some issues in relationships for a lot of people. May or may not hit you since it is Venus conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, which is in conflict with Scorpio normally. So it could be that there could be a falling out with a close friend or relative, perhaps, with a Venus-Saturn conjunction squaring Uranus. It could also be that there is some distance created between you and family, perhaps because you or someone else has to go far away to work, or they're working too much, hopefully not because they're sick. From Thursday on, Venus does sextile Chiron, so if there is some illness in the later part of the week, there is a chance for people to recover from that and at least perhaps have it not be as serious. Now, Mars itself, a former ruling planet for your sign, is conjunct Lilith till Thursday. Lilith is a point in astrology, it's not a planet, but it does indicate where we have a lot of dark emotions and feelings residing, and where sometimes, such as when Mars comes along and conjuncts that point, then they all get released. So there's a number of rather nasty aspects going on in the sky this week. So it's going to be a week full of frustrations for a lot of people, perhaps even you. Now, with Uranus square Saturn until April 10th, those two planets are kind of at war with one another until mid-April. Saturn is in Aquarius, a very 21st century horoscope sign, and Uranus is in Taurus. Aquarius is ruling planet in a very old-fashioned conservative sign like Taurus. That's just ripe with conflict. And in fact, a good analogy to it was the conflict that we saw in the USA between the very old guard form of government represented by their previous president compared to with a new attitude represented by their new president. So that's how Saturn and Uranus kind of can get into conflict with one another in these types of signs, and it can be pretty serious because nobody wants to give. Both Aquarius and Taurus are very stubborn. They're both fixed signs like you, Scorpio, so they're stubborn like you. And therefore, it's just an aspect that's ripe for a lot of problems and misunderstandings. The ultimate goal is to make adjustments and changes. And even though we've dealt with this pandemic for a year or more in some places, it seems that people still want to try to live the old ways, and that is not going to be possible anymore. So this aspect represents, the Saturn-Uranus square represents a lot of need for adjustment by everybody. Scorpio's not a sign that really likes change either, but you'll grumble about it, but at least you'll do it. Because Scorpio always does what needs to be done, and very often what other signs don't want to do. But that's not to say there may not be some strife as you adjust to these changes. With the other planets not in serious aspects this week, Chiron is sextile Saturn all month and sextile Venus from Thursday on. What that means, sextiles are good. So what that means is that even if there is some upset and problems this week, Chiron kicking in might actually help to resolve the issues that do come up. So hopefully it ends up being a good week for you, Scorpio. I hope so.